everybody. This is Jeff Sutherland. Welcome to another edition of Jeff Star Talk. We're here on location in Wilcox, Arizona for the 57th annual Rex Allen Days. And we're here about ready to, they're going to start a concert with Rex Allen Jr. and Johnny Western and many of the others here, Charlie Rich Jr., Pedro Gonzalez Jr. But this gentleman seated to my right, he's done so many things in his career. He's going to be the host of the Silver Spurs Award in a couple of weeks, so we're going to look forward to that. And I'm talking about the one and only Johnny Western. Johnny, thank you for coming on, man.
Boy, this is fun, is it not?
Boy, it is fun, John. Huh? It is fun stuff. And we're going to see this concert, and I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to seeing Rex Jr., Pedro Gonzalez, and also Charlie Rich Jr., and you, because I've always wanted to talk to you. I've seen you in the Festival of the West many years ago. And I said, man, I got to interview Johnny Western. And my friend Don Schilling out of Oregon says, yeah, you got to talk to John.
My main man.
Yeah, he's a good guy. John, where are you originally from?
From Northfield, Minnesota, where Jesse James and the Younger brothers got shot to pieces trying to take the bank back in 1876.
Absolutely true.
Yeah.
Did you always wanted to be in music, John, or in acting?
No, I wanted to be a cowboy star like Gene Autry, and I wanted to be him since the day I was 5 years old.
Is that right? I'm saying that's something new for me. I didn't know that.
Yeah, I did. I saw Guns and Guitars with Gene Autry and Smiley Burnett on my 5th birthday, never dreaming that 16 years later he was going to put me under contract and take me all over the world with him.
Yeah, that's right, because you replaced Johnny Bond, who was there 17 years, and he took off.
Right. Yeah. He was doing TV on the West Coast during the Town Hall Party television show and couldn't and didn't want to travel anymore, so Gene had heard me sing at a private party out in the San Fernando Valley, and I was actually singing with Roy Rogers and the Sons of the Pioneers that night. And then when Johnny Bond turned in his notice 2 weeks later, Dick Jones was the guy that called me to do this thing. Dick was starring in a TV series for Gene called Buffalo Bill Jr.
That's right.
And he called me and said, Gene Autry wants to see you tomorrow afternoon at 2 o'clock at his office. Can you be there? And I said, who do I have to kill? So when I walked out of there, he had offered me the job to replace Johnny Bond from what he had seen me do at that party that night.
And since you were 5 years old, this dream followed you through.
Absolutely.
I'd love to hear that.
Who gets to work for your hero?
Yeah.
And so consequently, I stayed with Gene, and he stayed with me until the day he passed away, which was a long run because he was 91 years old in 1998 when he passed.
And God bless him, because he was a great entertainer and a great in music, and everything he touched seemed to be magic for him.
Well, I always told him, I said, Gene, everything you touch, turns to gold. Everything I touch calls the cops. So, but he did. He had the Midas touch.
He had the Midas touch. Gene had the Midas
tremendous
touch.
businessman.
Even that song, Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, was sort of like, he wasn't sure about that. His wife, Ina, at the time said, record it.
No, she said the kids will love it.
Kids will love it.
The kids will love it. He did not want to record the song.
And number 3 on the all-time hit list, I think.
Yeah, it was number 2 for years until the song about Princess Di came out. So it was Bing Crosby and Gene Autry were the 2 biggest record sellers in the world.
Oh, God. And I can't think of a Christmas without hearing Gene.
Oh, no. You'll never have a Christmas without Rudolph.
And we're still pulling for the Angels, even though they're down 2 games. Every time we think of the Angels, we think of Gene Autry.
We think back in 2002 when they won it all.
They beat my Giants.
In the
I know.
The 7th game.
Yeah. But
I do a lot of things with Jackie Autry. Last year was Gene's 100th birthday.
Yeah.
And Jackie threw a tremendous thing on the West Coast for 7 days, and we were out there. I did 5 concerts in 7 days in Gene's honor. Then we got to go to the stadium and sit in the owner's box with Jackie and watch, of all things, the Boston Red Sox and the Angels.
Yeah. So, the Red Sox are not on their hit list.
No, they're their nemesis, as it were. But it's great that Jackie keeps the image of Gene alive and well.
She sure does. And I think you told me earlier off camera that Gene passed away on her birthday, so she don't celebrate birthdays.
Doesn't celebrate her birthday anymore, which was October the 2nd. So you never send her a birthday card. She loves, of course, Christmas season with Gene's music out there. Yeah. But it's just one of those unfortunate things that happen.
And you also worked some other greats, too, along with your acting career. First of all, let's get into that. You got into acting in the late 50s, and you starred in a lot of shows. And your one episode that you appeared in, the Paladin Half Gun Will Travel show, that led to the theme.
Right. I had just got the idea when we were on location at Iverson's Ranch for something to say about Richard Boone and Have Gun Will Travel.
Yeah.
All my scenes were with him.
Yeah.
And consequently, when we did the big shootout and the gunfight, I had the Paladin, Where Do You Roam? Obviously far from home.
Sure.
Because he always started out in San Francisco in the fancy hotel. Sure. And then the next thing he's in the black outfit and ready to go. So it was far from there. That part rolled really fast. The next morning, I had a baby daughter born in Encino at Doctor's Hospital at 7 o'clock in the morning. They didn't let you see your kid, right there in the room. You had to wait all day long. So my mother-in-law had come and gotten our older daughter, who was 3 years older. Took me about 10 to 20 minutes to write the rest of the Paladin theme. And then I went down that afternoon and recorded it at a small studio in Hollywood just to get it down on tape.
Sure.
Had a couple of copies made. I took one to Dick Boone and said, Dick, thanks for having me on the show and working with me and doing all these great things. And then Sam Rolfe, who had created Have Gun Will Travel, was about 30, 31 years old. And I said, Sam, thanks for a great script. And I walked away. The next Tuesday, after this weekend, they called and said, you need to be at CBS this afternoon. We took the tape over and played it for the big shots over there. They played it for the big guns in New York. Without you knowing anything going on, they want to sign you to Columbia Records and to CBS Television as a writer and singer.
All in that one thing that you did by the bottom of your heart.
It was just a musical thank you card for Richard Boone and Sam Rolfe.
I love that.
Have gun will travel, reap the card of a man. A knight without armor in a savage land. His fast gun for hire heeds the calling wind. A soldier of fortune is the man called Paladin. Paladin, Paladin, where do you roam? Paladin, Paladin, far, far from home.
I love that because I love to hear those stories because you was given something of your own and it turned into gold.
Well, it was just,
you did have the Midas touch there.
It was a have to because I had fallen in love with that character when I saw the pilot.
Yeah.
People don't realize there were 14 episodes on the air before I ever wrote that song.
Yeah, well, Don Schilling does know,
Right.
and he educated me on that.
Absolutely.
But, here's the thing, too, John, is that show is, they're thinking about making a movie. I talked to Frank Stallone, and he said that Sylvester Stallone was interested in buying the rights to do a movie on the
Well,
Paladins.
it's been in the ballpark for three different actors. First of all, John Travolta.
Yeah.
They even went as far as to make the costumes and two sets of guns and holsters, one for the double and one for Travolta, was that close. And then Will Smith bombed with his big multi-million-dollar product, Wild West, bombed terribly. They backed off, said, well, maybe TV series made into a movie is not going to be a big deal. Not realizing what Maverick was going to do later on.
That's true.
With James Garner and, of course,
Mel Gibson
with
and that was a hit.
$150 million hit.
That was a hit.
Right.
Yeah.
So the next thing I hear is that they may do a 2-hour TV movie. And they were talking about Powers Booth being the guy.
I know him, too. That would be good.
And Richard Boone's widow said Powers Booth or John Travolta would be wonderful. They wouldn't be doing what Richard Boone did. They'd do their own thing, but they'd be very strong in that role. Now, the kicker is, the last few months, there's a big rumor, well, it's more than a rumor, that Eminem, the white rap star, has fallen in love with the character. He's got every episode of Have Gun Will Travel ever made and wants to make it as a modern-day bounty hunter, as Paladin today.
Different?
Yeah. Now, he had a giant hit movie with his movie called 8 Mile, which basically played himself as a rap star.
True.
However, they showed that he can act.
Yeah, he can.
Who knows? The
knows?
The kids are the ones that are buying movie tickets
I
today.
think it is a great character because you know how teenage kids are. My teenage boys at the time, they were teenagers. They said, "Well, Paladin westerns,
Right.
And then when they heard Don in his great costume, and you got the bolo on, by the way.
Right.
But then they seen your theme. They was playing the theme, and they go, Dad, that's good. I said, yeah, hey, that's some of the shows that was 40, 50 years ago, and they're still good.
Well,
There's no secret to me.
When you're looking at the episodes of Have Gun Will Travel, you've got guest stars like Ben Johnson.
Ed Faulkner told me about him since several.
Ed
and he looked up to Richard Boone a lot.
Right. Ed Faulkner and I have been doing some film festivals together, and he's gone through with his Life with Richard Boone and Have Gun Will Travel, and Jim Arness and Gunsmoke, which we did 11 of those. Yeah. But you got Charles Bronson, who was then just a heavy, not before the leading man thing. Yeah. You've got all the great character actors.
And they love working with Boone.
They love him because he was such a pro.
Yeah, he was
such a great professional.
And even in the movies he did with Duke later on, it was good.
Well,
he did.
they were best friends.
Yeah.
And oddly enough, here both of them died of cancer, and they made their last movie together. The Shootist, you know.
Yeah, that is sad.
And so,
Well, let's get into another guy that I really admire is Johnny Cash too, along with you, and you did a lot with Johnny Cash as well.
almost 40 years with Johnny. And